Hello everyone, my name is Rajesh Kumar and I'm your Devops SRE DevSecOps coach. I have close to 18 plus years of experience working in multiple MNCs around the globe and having in-depth knowledge of DevOps, SRE and DevSecOps. So I would like to introduce you one certification program in a DevOps, and that is we call it DevOps Certified Professional. Now this is a 2 months of program, 25 tools of DevOps you will learn, and apart from that you will also get the access to the LMS, lifetime access to the videos portal. It's a certification program, and you will have 25 assignments and 2 projects along with it. It's a completely weekend program, so here you have classes on Saturday and Sunday. So as part of this course, you will learn multiple things. Here you see that you will learn Linux, AWS, Docker, Jira, Confluence, Python, Git with GitHub, SonarQube, Maven, Gradle, Packer, Artifactory, Selenium, JMeter, Ansible, Kubernetes, Helm, Terraform, Jenkins, Datadog, Splunk, and Neuralink. Now, how do we, apply for this? So how can you reach out to us? So you have a WhatsApp number and email ID, so please reach out to us and we'll help you to onboard this program. Apart from this DevOps certified professional programs, we are offering other certifications as well in a DevSecOps, SRE, and one of the very comprehensive programs which we have is in Master in DevOps Engineering. Yeah, so feel free to get in touch with us and then enroll for it. Thank you. Okay, so if you understand this way, we want to set up a observability, and for this, I've been uh, helping you. I'll be helping you many tools actually. So there's one tool which we have a Datadog, uh, and then we have one tool which is New Relic. I'm talking about the DevOps course, not other one. SRE and DevSecOps. Datadog we have, New Relic we have, and Splunk we have. So these are the three tools I have added in this monitoring domain in terms of setting up observability and stuff like that. Okay, so now let me tell you, if you remember that observability means what? So observability means collecting the matrices, right? How do we collect the matrices? Then observability means collecting the trace. Trace means the traffic comes to your website, the end user is using your website and they want to experience your I mean you want to capture their experiences and then response time and things like that. And then we have a logs monitoring, correct? And we have a synthetic monitoring. So all these things, you have to collect the data and store it at one place, and then using all this data you set up alerts, and then you want a dashboard. This is something which you want to do it. So alerts and dashboard. So here this you want to do it. Every project wants to set up their own alerts and dashboard, and that's called observability. Now, Datadog can help you in terms of matrix, trace, logs, and synthetic. So, New Relic also can help you matrix, trace, logs, and synthetic. So, Splunk also can help you in terms of everything. Yes. So, but in this session, I will be not be able to focus on everything like matrix, trace, logs, and synthetic for Datadog, New Relic, and Splunk. Though you can do that, but yeah, uh, will not be possible. So here I am adding Datadog for infra perspective. I am adding New Relic for APM perspective, and I'm adding Splunk for the log perspective. So why is that so? So because Datadog initially introduced for the infra, so they are very powerful in terms of metrics collections and all infrastructure monitoring. New Relic is very powerful in terms of trace, APM, APM trace, both are same. So New Relic is very powerful in that category. New Relic was designed for APM actually, application performance monitoring. And then Splunk was designed initially for the logs, and so they are very powerful in it. But They are having niche area, but they can do everything in today's format of Datadog, New Relic, and Splunk. They can do everything. Okay, so here today I'm going to cover Splunk, which basically I'll be focusing on the logs, but again, as I stated, it can be everything. Are you able to understand that, all of you?
Yeah, Rajesh. But what is synthetic? I'm not sure.
Which one?
The
Which
synthetic, the on
synthetic
the top.
monitoring? Huh. So synthetic monitoring, you can say like some robot, some automated script is hitting to the URL or endpoint, and whatever the response you are getting it, capturing and storing at some place. So it's like you can say endpoint check tool or certificate, domain certificate check tool or something like that. Okay, so this synthetic I'll discuss in the Datadog. I'll show you the demo also, so that we understand. Okay, so now let's get started with the Splunk and then logs monitoring. So here, what is log? So log is anything which you think has been generated by system machine. So it's a log. Log record. Log is a record related to whatever activities occurring on information system. And in fact, we are generating everywhere. There are many sources of logs, IDs, firewalls, anti-malware, proxies, network servers, databases, and applications. A lot of logs we have. Look at this. You generate a logs from Linux, Windows. Log files are there. Access log files are there. Logs file for file systems. You do have it. In terms of networking, firewall logs, warning logs, alerts, and IP addresses logs. In terms of databases, you have audit logs, configuration logs, schemas log, tables, queries logs, and stuff like that. Web transaction logs, click stream logs, location logs, browser time. Devops also generate many logs, which includes test logs, log4j alerts, event logs, code check-in, and so on. IoT also generate GPS, RFID, biometric, temperature, limitless, and all. So yeah, if you look at this, so we are having logs everywhere. Okay. So what we are going to do? So we are going to analyze the log. Analyze the log. So then you'll say why we have to analyze the logs. So there are many important regions which we have. One of these is production monitoring and debugging. So that's one of the major regions in at least in DevOps in SRE. You will do that stuff. We want to also monitor, analyze the logs for the resource uses, HTTP errors, slow queries, rogue automated robots, security issues. We want to track websites visitor, situational awareness and new threat discovery, getting more values out of network and security infrastructure, extracting what is really actionable, measuring security, compliance and regulations, incident response, but not last least. So we have to analyze log and there are many use cases for it. So now then you'll ask one question, and this is a very important slides actually. Uh, when you, I'll help you to collect the logs. Okay, how can we collect the logs using Splunk or Datadog or New Relic? I can teach you that one. But once you have a log, what to look for it? Once once you have a log, okay, sorry. So once you have a log, what to look for in it? What you will search for it? So this question I cannot help you here because you only know the requirement for your projects. Security concerns, you want to search the logs. Maybe you want to have audit reports, you want to search the logs. It can be any regions actually. why you are searching. Logs has lots of information, but just for the learning purpose, let's say you have a certain logs and you want to experience that, what to search for it. These are the things you can try. For example, check the logs where you have a password changes, unauthorized login failures, new login events, malware detections, malware attacks seen by the IDs or other evidence. Scan on your firewall, open and close port, DDoS attack, errors on network devices, file name changes, file integrity changes, data exported, new process started or running, process stopped, shared access event, and so on. So again, these are the things you can look for the logs to in order to get started. But again, is a project specific questions what you want to look for log. Let me ask you one question actually. Let's say I want to look for the logs uh, where the password has been changed. So what is your algorithm in your mind? How you will get started? Tell me, all of you. What approach you will all follow to um, find the logs which has a password change event has happened? Any one of you?
We can look for like event code for
Login
password
failed.
change.
Yeah. So event ID. Yeah. So here you said event ID. That means you know Windows well, correct?
Oh yeah.
So that's the reason. So here what I'm trying to say, yes, uh, widen your scope actually. So if you think, okay, I'm going to work on Splunk or Datadog or Neuralink, and you think I just need to learn only Datadog, then it's not going to work out, because there you will search for the logs. But if you don't understand the Apache, if you don't understand the Tomcat, you don't understand the let's say MySQL database, any web server, any app server, any platform like Windows, Linux, container services like a Docker, Kubernetes, and so on, you need to understand the pattern of logs. How do they generate a logs? How network log is being generated? What is their pattern? What information the logs has it? So these all these things you have to offline study actually. Hell lot of things we have. More than 100 platform tools you must be using in your environment. So yes, that's a activity. So whenever you search, directly go to Splunk, and then you cannot simply say, hey, I learned Splunk and then I have a log stored in a Splunk, but I'm not able to search for it, because you don't know the pattern actually. So what I'm trying to say, you need to know pattern also. Let's say someone will say, let's say your manager says, hey, find out the logs where the think simple, okay, find out the logs where the code has been committed from the IP address which is from China. How you solve it? Code has been committed in a Git, and the IP address the is should be from China. So how do you get it? How do you get it? Tell me. Think about it. Sharda.
Maybe log source can be Git and source IP, or we can like filter by source IP or country while
Yeah.
writing the query in Splunk.
So first thing you'll do, first you collect the logs from what? Let's say GitHub or GitLab. That's the first thing you have to do. Second thing, study the pattern of the logs. Whatever the collections you are doing, do they have IP address? That's one thing. Second thing, you have to find out code commit. When people do the code commit, what kind of logs is being generated in the system? So that's called pattern. So you got a pattern for code commit, you got a IP address in the logs, and then you'll search for it. Then your approach will be nicer for you. So yeah, work on approach, pattern, and all stuff like that. So it will help you. So it's very important to you to understand. I can teach you here in how to collect the logs, how can search the logs, but what exactly you are looking for it, you have to create that practice in your mind. Okay. So there are some common fields you will find in the each logs actually. This may you find time, source, destination, protocol, ports, username, events, attached type, byte exchange, and all. Okay, so now what are the best practices for log analysis? Though some of these features which you find in the tools itself, but you need to understand. So any tools which you are using it for the sake of, we are using Splunk, which is very best in the market for log analysis. So here the tool should be having the pattern detection and recognitions. So you have millions of lines, you cannot read each and every things. You have to have a pattern detection. So like what types of log which you are getting, so give me category, and then I find, okay, there's some unique logs which has come, which has a errors or debugging or something like that warning. I should focus, I should not focus on the info log probably, if it is not a security issues and all. So pattern detection and recognition should be there inbuilt in the tool itself. Normalization means what? Normalization means, I'll give one example, simple way. There's Apache log which is generated in Indian servers. There's Apache log which has been generated in US servers. The pattern timestamp will be different. USA we have a different timestamp, time zone. USA and India also we do have a different one. So the results should not be inconsistent because of this timestamp. So what you can do while storing the log itself, you can do some sort of parsing. We call it a transformation. While storing the log itself, you can convert into either on USA time zone or all the logs only either on India time zone. So that way it will be normalized actually. So that's called normalizations. Tagging and classification. So this Apache log is from the microservices 1 or microservices 2 or microservices 3 or microservices 4. What exactly? Which server is coming from? Which production environment, development environment, staging environment, pre-production environment, client 1, client 2, client 3, client 4. So how do we tag the each line of log with a custom tagging and classifications? That feature you should be having it. After that you have to have correlation analysis also. Correlation analysis feature means there's a one logs which has been generated in the microservices 1, microservices 2 also. Let's say you log into amazon.com. While working with amazon.com, browsing the amazon.com, you might be experiencing 20 of their microservices. You have logged in, register, browsing, order, payment, this, that. So you have used so many microservices of there. But how would they collect? Okay, this is your log in your login server. This is the same log you have in the browsing, I mean, microservices. This is the same log which you have in order, and this is same log you have in a payment. How do you create a correlations between the your log in the system? So that process is called correlation analysis. So tool should be supporting you in order to find out the logs, only your logs, for that whatever you did in the system, you can do that. And then your tool should be having artificial ignorance means, see, not everything I want to analyze. There are millions of log which is generated every minute. So how do you analyze this log? How do you ignore that log, the one which is not important? So and detect automatically. So this tool should be supporting you. So these are the 5 best practices, and most of the time, let me tell you here, these tools which I'm covering right now, Splunk we have, or Datadog and Neuralink is already have this feature. Make sense, all of you? All of
Yeah,
you?
Rajesh.
Yeah. So yeah, what to do? What are the things to follow? So yes, collect the logs, clean the log, convert into structured format, analyze the log, and obtain the result. That's what you will do that. So yeah, generating a logs, collecting a logs, aggregating a log, normalizing the log, creating alerts, summarize, then make conclusion, act on them, and these are the things. So these are the log monitoring tools. We have a Splunk is a leader in this. I need to update these slides actually because logs IO and uh, Blockstash, I had to remove it and put it something better options. So okay, so some of the stuff I'm just ignoring it, which is not important. So yeah, so what we are going to learn. So I'm going to teach you what is Splunk, how does Splunk work, how is Splunk deployed, what are Splunk apps, and blah blah blah. Okay, so What is Splunk? Splunk basically is a US based company, California based company, and I just said it's it's one of the early one of the company who's so deep inside log analysis for the enterprise, not for the small log, for the enterprise and security, SIM we call it, and so on. So yeah, again, it's one of the premium company in USA. Uh, Now, understanding the component is important. So yeah, so you can collect the logs um, from various sources using Splunk, and I think I have told you. But left side, you know that these are the sources where you generate a logs and you can collect it. But there's many other places also using script also for the sake of you can generate a logs, ticket changes, call details, records, call click streams. So many sources are there. Using that you can generate a logs. Now this is something is a very good slides, and this slide itself will answer all of your questions like, okay, I want to I want to collect the logs from the various sources. Which are the sources supported? So look at this here. Basically in Windows, Linux, cloud, application, database, networking, Splunk basically it literally support everything actually. So look, if you look at this, so any sources which you can have it, you can imagine. Splunk is capable of collecting the logs. Some of these I'll show you anyways. Okay, now this is something which is we can call it uh, architecture at a high level. Okay, the architecture will change depends on the organizations and topology will change, but more or less this will be the something which will be there. So here we have uh, Splunk search head. Splunk search head is the one copy of instance you will uh, of a Splunk you will be installing it, that will be used for searching, and search will happen to the some database, right? So that we call it a Splunk indexer. So indexer will have all the storage of the data logs, and it will be indexed, it will be stored, you can parse it, you can transform it, all these things you can do in the Splunk indexer. And then forwarder will send the logs to the indexer. Okay, so forwarder you can consider as like different I'll install the forwarder and I'll show you what different uh, platform like Windows, Linux, website, database, devices and all. There you can configure the forwarder, and then forwarder will capture the logs, send it to indexer, and then indexer will store all the data, and search Splunk search head will be used for searching. So this is the architecture. When you install Splunk, one component can act like a Splunk search head and a Splunk indexer. Yeah, both indexer and Splunk head, one component can act, but you can keep it in a distributed environment also. So for HA and high availability and things like that. Okay, so this is something. So here you see that how the does Splunk work. So data input is from the forwarder, then parsing and indexing is done in the indexer, and from there you searching the database. So this is something which you have to look at this. Data input done by forwarder, parsing and indexing indexer, and searching done by search head. So here indexer and search head you can keep it in one also. Uh, that is possible. Okay, so many other what do you say, architecture is there, but we'll stick to this architecture. It's to get started the architecture. Okay, so now how do we start installing the Splunk, right? How do we start installing? So what I will do, let me log in to AWS. So let me just a second. Let me pause the recording for a few seconds. Session.
This conference will now be recorded.
So I'm going to record this session here, and this is called Splunk. And here I'll go for Ubuntu and 20. I'll go for 8 GB RAM and keys. I'll create ppk Splunk. Now use default storage 30 GB and good to go. So what I did, I created one instance just for installing the Splunk in Linux. Though Linux, you can install the Splunk on Windows also. So here, putty, it's got crashed. Okay, so now Ubuntu is the user one. Okay, now how to install the Splunk in Linux? The Windows also you can do that. So let's go for Splunk here. That you can refer the website also, but it will take some time. So this is the one I'm going to follow. Okay, so Splunk tutorial, install and configure Splunk server. So this is the tarball for Linux, and this is also tarball for Linux. This is Linux. This is Windows. This is Windows. So now this one 9 version you can check it out. Okay, you can check the latest also Splunk download. When you click here, you will take it to the website. See here. So Universal is here. Other products are also here. 14 days trial period, which I'm going to use it. So in that way. So you can check this out. So let's use this for time being. I'm using Linux and Splunk 9.0, something like that. We are going to use it. Here you have forwarder also, just to save time. I keep it here. Now here, these are the commands which you have to run it to start this Splunk and so on. So can we use this? Go to OPT, CD OPT, and now download this file wget, enter. Okay, permission problem, so become a sudo wget, enter. Now I got this here. Now tarball hyphen zxvf, enter.
If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.